Harry Brown is an elderly pensioner and veteran of the Royal Marines living alone in his apartment in a crime-riddled section of London. He visits his wife Kathy, who is admitted in a nearby hospital, but due to the crime in the area, Harry does not take the shortcut through the pedestrian underpass, which is usually occupied by gangs. When he gets to the hospital to see Kathy, he learns that she isn't doing very well, and from the dead patients surrounding her, Harry knows it's just a matter of time. Most of his days are spent playing chess with his only friend, Len, the only person he can talk to about Kathy.
How's your cat?
Len is fed up with the crime in the neighborhood, especially after seeing a drug deal go down right inside the pub in plain view of the owner Sid. He thinks Sid may even be in on it, but Harry just wants to avoid trouble and wants him to let it go. That night, Harry sees some thugs breaking into a nearby car. The owner comes out to confront them, but the thugs gang up and beat him within an inch of his life. Harry just closes his curtain, ignoring the situation. Later that night, he gets a phone call that Kathy is dying, so he rushes out into the pouring rain, but since he refuses to walk through the shortcut, he ends up getting to the hospital too late. Kathy has already passed on. It's obvious even ignoring crime can still affect your life in more ways than one. Kathy is soon buried, and Len is right there beside his friend. The two sit for a silent game of chess afterwards at Sid's. Harry then recalls a fellow Marine named Bob, who was responsible for him meeting Kathy. She was actually Bob's date at a military dance, but he couldn't get over her beautiful eyes, so he took Bob's girl, and the rest was history. Len notes it's the first time Harry has ever mentioned his time in the Marines, but seeing the opportunity, he asks if Harry ever killed anyone. The question visibly upsets Harry,
Did you ever kill anyone?
who tells him the Marines was a lifetime ago, and he was a different man then. When he met Kathy, he made the decision to leave that part of him behind, and he never looked back. Later, Len reveals why he is so angry at the thugs in the neighborhood. Turns out he is being targeted and tormented by the gang who even went as far as to spit in his face, but he refuses to take it anymore. Len pulls out a sword from his coat. Harry thinks they should go and talk to the cops instead, but Len has already been to the cops, and he has already made up his mind. Later, a pile of trash is seen burning inside Len's apartment while he is inside sleeping. Soon the thick smoke wakes him, and he rushes outside cursing at the dark. The next morning, Harry is visited by Detective Inspector Frampton and Sergeant Hickok. Inside they break the damning news.
Do you think we could sit down? Mr. Atwell is dead.
Len is dead. Harry is shocked, and words evade him for a full minute. They reveal that Len's body was found inside the pedestrian walkway, and wonder if Len seemed distressed about anything lately. So Harry tells them about the thugs he's been having problems with. But since they have no names, the investigation will be moving slowly. Frampton leaves behind her card, offering to call someone to keep Harry company, but the only persons he would have needed are now dead. As soon as the cops leave, Harry breaks down in tears. Following a lead, Frampton and Hickok barge into the home belonging to a known gang leader named Noel, arresting him under suspicion of murder while his mother defends him. They throw him into the transport, and Frampton finds it interesting that Noel hasn't asked once who he has killed. Along with Noel, the cops bring other gang members Carl, Mark, and the drugged-out Dean.
Dean, can you hear me?
But they all deny knowing Len or anything related to any attack.
I'm a fucking rat, you pig cunts!
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I bet it did. Come on, mate, tell us what happened.
No comment.
Despite this, Frampton and Hickok keep pushing, ignoring the insults and trying to get answers, but they get nowhere. The next day, Harry has a priest pray over Kathy's grave before going to get drunk at Sid's. He pays for his drink, spilling some cash that catches the attention of Dean, who's also at the bar. Harry starts heading back home, stumbling through the dark, when suddenly Dean confronts him with a knife demanding his cash. Harry stands his ground, and when Dean lunges, he redirects the blade into his chest out of reflex, his training still embedded inside him. He rushes back home, quickly getting rid of his bloodied clothes, cleaning up and taking a shower before finally laying down in bed to his thoughts. The next morning, Harry gets a surprise visit from Frampton. Inside, she sees a photo of Harry during his days in the Marines, and also an unfinished chess game, but Harry knows she didn't come to talk about chess. She explains that the knife used against Len actually belonged to him, but before she can even get another word out, Harry makes it clear he was using it for self-defense. He gradually loses his temper. Len was being harassed, and when he asked the cops for help, they did nothing for him. Because the murder weapon belonged to Len, Frampton explains that his attackers would argue self-defense and get only manslaughter charges. But Harry can't believe she came all the way just to tell him that, and shows her the way out.
Jesus Christ.
That night, Harry opens a box of old war memories, but what he removes is a blade. Something has changed inside Harry. He then heads over to Len's now burned-out apartment and goes inside, and from Len's window, he can see the pedestrian walkway with a group of teens hanging out at its entrance looking like they're up to no good. He then notices a young couple who stop to buy drugs, but when the thugs start harassing his girl and he tries to defend her, they turn on him and beat him, and one thug who looks like Carl flashes a gun. Now Harry starts to hunt. He follows one thug, Kenny, later that night and sees him enter a drug house, so he knocks on the door pretending he wants to do business. There Harry meets another thug named Skinny, who allows him inside, and Kenny points a gun at Harry's face until Skinny tells him to stand down. Harry tells the thugs he really wants a gun, so he can shoot the pigeons off his roof. This seems to work, so Skinny leads Harry through an indoor drug farm to another room, where Harry sees a passed-out girl on a couch, clearly high off drugs, and on a TV nearby a video of Skinny assaulting a clearly passed-out female. Skinny offers to allow him to have his way with the passed-out girl for just 50 quid, but Harry, really disgusted by who he is dealing with, manages to maintain his cool, telling Skinny he just wants the gun. Harry takes a seat and Skinny injects himself with drugs right in front of him, clearly unaware of the old man's true intentions. Kenny brings out a bag of guns and starts laying them in front of Harry.
It looks fucking cool as crap, that, doesn't it? Look at that. It's a beautiful little gun, that, and a proper fucking stock. It's a pound of bullet, 7 bills for the 38.
Before doing lines of white stuff. With both men high, Harry sees his chance. He loads one of the guns, acting oblivious until Kenny takes it from him but fails to unload it. The issue now is that Skinny has a gun in his hand and his eyes on Harry. Harry suggests that they should get some medical help for the passed-out girl, but Skinny just wants him to pay for his gun and get out. He turns his attention to Kenny and lets off a shot next to him, but the gun is out of bullets at this point, and he smokes a pinch of drug through the nozzle. These guys are clearly unhinged, but Harry knows it's now or never. He stabs Kenny in the hand and tries shooting Skinny but misses. Skinny aims his gun at Harry, forgetting that his gun is out. Harry takes out Kenny, then lets off shots at Skinny, who escapes into the farm. He goes looking for him and finds him collapsed, hit by a round. Harry takes his gun, telling him he failed to maintain his weapon. As Skinny lies there dying, Harry coldly tells him he won't be alive for much longer. He saw an injury like that during the war, and was forced to watch his mate suffer and die. As Skinny lies there, Harry tells him he should have called an ambulance for the girl before finishing him off with a shot to the head. He then puts the girl in a nearby truck, takes all the guns, and sets the building on fire before driving away. Harry races over to a nearby hospital. Inside the bag he finds a pile of cash, so he leaves some with the girl, hits the car horn, and escapes. Frampton meets with Superintendent Childs. Despite the fact that Len's case is still ongoing, he is more focused on the recent shooting deaths of the two dealers and plans to initiate a new operation to crack down on gun violence and drugs. This means her investigation into Len's murder will be suspended, and he doesn't even give her a chance to respond before dismissing her. Harry leaves the cash inside a church, then stops by both Kathy's and Len's graves. That night he observes the pedestrian walkway from Len's apartment. Soon he notices an older dealer named Troy, who comes to collect money from Noel, who deals dope to pay off a debt he owes to Troy. Afterwards, Troy calls Mark into his car. Then they drive to a secluded spot where Mark gives him head. Suddenly a gunshot rips through Troy's head. It's Harry. He kidnaps Mark and brings him to an abandoned apartment, demanding to know what happened to Len,
So what happens, son?
the man he and his mates murdered. Mark denies knowing anything and refuses to talk, so Harry whips his legs with a wire. Harry isn't in the mood and pulls out his gun, promising to blow his kneecaps off if he refuses to talk. Mark then confesses everything. Len had come at them with a blade, threatening to stab them, but all they did was give him a few slaps. Harry doesn't believe a word and raises his gun to Mark's head until he yells that the entire incident was recorded on his cell phone. Harry then sees the video. He sees Len with the blade, but then the entire gang of thugs came down and began beating him. Then one hooded figure stabs Len with the blade before Noel can be seen peeing on Len. Harry can hardly believe what he is seeing, but his shock soon turns to anger and he demands to know who stabbed Len. Later, Noel and Carl are inside the walkway with two girls. Just then Mark comes stumbling in, his legs and arms bound, and a chain around his neck.
He's got a gun!
Both Noel and Carl pull guns trying to see what or who is holding on to Mark. Getting scared, both thugs just open fire into the dark, hitting Mark in the process, but a gunshot from the dark hits Carl. Harry steps out, but Carl lets off a shot near him, giving Noel the chance to escape. Harry tries going after him, but he can't keep up, and his asthma starts affecting him. Thinking quickly, though, he tosses his gun into the river. Harry wakes inside the hospital with Frampton and Hickok in his room, who want to ask him some questions, but the nurses come to take him away. Frampton then notices something on Harry's jacket, but says nothing. She then goes to the area where Harry was found. Something doesn't sit right with her about Harry. She smelled cordite on his jacket, something similar to gunpowder, but Hickok thinks nothing of it. The two head back to the station where Childs and the team are about to execute the few warrants in the area. While Childs thinks Harry is a witness to the shooting, Frampton thinks he's their main suspect, explaining the link between Harry, Len, and the thugs found dead. She doesn't have evidence, but wants a warrant to test Harry's jacket for gunshot residue. Childs doubts that some elderly pensioner is responsible, noting that Frampton failed to question Troy or his associates. He then changes the topic, informing Frampton that she has been shortlisted to head an inquiry into identity theft, leaving Frampton not sure if she's being promoted or sidelined. Later that night, Childs and a large, heavily armed force of cops hit the apartment complex where the thugs hang out, taking multiple suspects into custody. However, soon, other thugs nearby begin retaliating, throwing rocks at the cops and chasing them off. Not long after, a massive riot breaks out at the apartments, but the cops stand no chance of controlling the chaos. As soon as Harry is alone, he leaves the hospital, ignoring his medical condition. Frampton learns about Harry discharging himself from the hospital and suspects he is going after Noel. But at this point, Hickok thinks Harry's doing them a favor getting rid of the scumbags. Harry manages to slip past the riots and into Len's apartment, where he removes a gun from a hidden spot. Frampton and Hickok turn up to the apartments, but someone hits their windshield, causing them to crash, leaving Hickok with a dangerous wound. Out of nowhere, Harry comes to their aid, and he and Frampton help Hickok into Sid's pub, Harry asking him to call an ambulance. Harry checks on Frampton, who is freaked out when she then notices a gun in his waist. She tells him he's no longer in the war, but to Harry, his enemies back then had a purpose, not like these thugs who hurt for fun. She fears that after he kills Noel, Sid will kill him, and Harry is confused at the statement for a while until Frampton reveals that Sid is Noel's uncle. Without any further words, Harry goes to confront Sid, who still hasn't called an ambulance. Harry is still ill, but he insists on knowing where Noel is hiding. Sid won't say, so Harry uses Mark's cell phone to ring Noel, and the cell phone is heard ringing inside the room. Noel steps out with a gun, but Sid tells him to put it down, also urging Harry to do the same. He still doesn't believe that Noel killed Len, but Harry shows him the video. Even with this, Sid can't allow Harry to shoot his nephew. Harry lowers his gun, seemingly having a change of heart. Sid takes the gun, but then suddenly punches Harry in the stomach. Upstairs, Frampton tries calling for backup when Noel attacks her.
Told you I fucked you, didn't I, eh?
Sid also drags Harry up to the bar, and there he makes the decision to eliminate everyone and throw them in the street into the chaos. He starts with Hickok, strangling him to death.
It's nice and easy.
Following his lead, Noel starts strangling Frampton, but luckily Harry wakes, removes a hidden pistol from his socks, and shoots Noel in the neck. This causes Sid, though, to shoot Harry in the shoulder. He comes over to finish Harry, but just then red dots appear on his chest. The cops have responded to Frampton's call. He still tries shooting Harry and gets riddled with bullets. A few days later, Childs and Police Command hold a press conference, taking credit for all the gangsters taken out. A reporter questions speculations that a vigilante actually took out the thugs, but Childs denies this, stating there is no evidence to support this. In the end, peace returns to the apartment complex. Harry is taking a walk, but this time he chooses to walk through the pedestrian walkway, now renovated and repainted. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe for more recaps just like this. And hey, don't click away just yet. YouTube thinks you'll love one of these 2 videos popping up right here, so check them out next.